I finished my undergrad in 2017, I graduated university with an optimistic outlook. However, I started my career and noticed comments like,
"Oh my god, you're a nurse? That's so cute."
You're a nurse? That's so hot.
Have you considered pursuing studies in something else?
It's no surprise that 90% of nurses are female. In 2017, women made up nearly 70% of healthcare workers worldwide. However, women held only 35% of leadership roles in healthcare. I was aware that I chose to become a nurse despite people saying things like,
"You're a woman and you're black. You have options this day and age."
Also, I don't recall hearing feminists discussing issues specific to female nurses when discussing gender inequality. Even friends looked down on the profession, cringing at the implied internalized misogyny of it all. Nursing is the dirty secret of gender equality. It feels like nurses were forgotten and left behind in the second wave of the feminist movement. Nursing, unlike other predominantly female professions like teaching, are more greatly affected by sexism. This is because nurses haven't made the same gains in professional development. Also, because nursing is 90% female, there seems to be an unconscious operational definition of what a woman is at the primordial level. That definition revolves around caring and nurturing. Therefore, nurses present the most extreme microcosmic expression of the macrocosm of what womanhood represents because it is tied to both our biology and sexuality. Adding to this is how the media complicates nursing and feminism. The result is a disconnection between what nursing really is versus what the public and policymakers believe about the profession. The media plays a major role in perpetuating the notion that nursing is a job for women and that as women, they do not need to take any space. The famous Woodhull study of 1998 claimed that nurses were identified as sources in only 4% of health stories. 2 decades later, the results of the second Woodhull study showed little to no progress. The study claimed that nurses' invisibility in the media is what brings about the profession's weak influence in policymaking and leadership. The message of the Woodhull study is that nurses are not regarded as experts or leaders, and this is rooted in gender inequalities perpetuated by the media.
I heard that you were feeling ill, headache, fever, and a chill. I came to help restore your pluck, 'cause I'm the nurse who likes to.
Nurses are commonly portrayed as angels, sex objects, sassy and overweight, or worse, uncaring. Studies show that nursing is the most sexually fantasized about job and is a common theme in pornography. The media's attempts to link sexual images to nursing reinforces stereotypes, discourages males from applying to nursing, and fosters sexual harassment and abuse in the workplace, of which I myself have experienced. The direct results of these images is that nurses have limited access to funds for research and education due to the profession's perceived lack of importance by stakeholders who do not fully understand or value what nurses do. The problem with nursing and its implied biological ties to female gender is that it relegates medicine to a rather masculine, heroic endeavor. This perceived imbalance of power between nurses and doctors is really an unconscious expression of a perceived imbalance of genders between men versus women. This is further promoted by the media. Most medical shows rarely, if ever, show nurses in leading positive roles. I consistently hear nurses discuss how in hospital shows, physician characters spend most of their time doing things that nurses do in real life. Shows like Grey's Anatomy project an image of an omnipresent physician, with patients all the time, monitoring and providing all the care, when in reality, there are multiple professions involved in the process. TV medical shows influence how people understand professions. The image of nursing discourages both men and women from entering the profession. Today, if a woman decides to become a doctor, she is applauded. However, if a man decides to become a nurse, it is not perceived in the same way.
Sorry, can't remember if I mocked you yet for being a male nurse.
When you account for this lack of respect, it is no wonder that people in government or high-ranking executives often make decisions in healthcare that affect nurses based on the common theme of nursing being women's work. This would be an example of why nurses are often the first to get fired when there are budget constraints or have to put up with dangerous staffing ratios. The common theme with nursing, gender equality, and the media is that traditionally female jobs are stereotyped to be jobs with some element of care, as this relates back to the initial divide between men and women based on biology. Nurses are often voted as the most trusted profession and make the largest portion of healthcare workers. So why should you care about nursing and gender equality? Because disempowered nurses affect everyone's health. Without nurses being able to have a voice, you can't champion things like good health and well-being for people. My vision for nursing is that we are empowered to take on more leadership roles and have a space within feminist discussion. I hope that we can finally take back the power of our image, especially in the media, so that one day both little girls and boys can look at a nurse and say,
I want to be you when I grow up.